Hello and welcome to another video in my Web API.NET Basics tutorial series. As always, go ahead and follow me on GitHub, visit my website, and email me if you have any questions. So in this one, once again, I'm putting the foundation for the upcoming series of videos where we'll be building some actual projects. But I want to make sure that whatever tools and systems that I have in place, that I want you to be ready with them as well. And also I'm giving like a quick introduction about how I use these things, so that when the actual coding is happening and I suddenly do something, you should know why and what is happening. I don't have to go around and explain why I'm using a specific tool in the middle of a coding thing. So I want to silo different concepts into different episodes. So there you go. Now in this video, I'm talking about the SQL Management Studio. So this is a very simple, and probably if you're if you're into C# by now, you already have it. But if you don't have it, then go ahead and install it on your computer. The main reason to use this is obviously to do some basic you want to make sure that your local SQL server is running. We will be using the local version of SQL server during our development, and many of my projects, like right now I have 2 projects. I may have other projects in the future which will become part of this series, but right now I do have 2 big projects, and both of them do make, especially the first one, the comic book shop project, makes use of the local SQL server. So you want to make sure that it is running. So the best way to make sure that your local server is running is simply to open your SQL Server Management Studio and connect. And if that connects successfully, then you know for sure that your local SQL server is running. There are obviously other ways of doing the same step, but this is the method that I am using in my projects, in my videos, and in my practice code, and so on and so forth. So if you can get this running on your machine, that means you're all set in terms of the database. So that's the main thing for SQL Management Studio. But that is not the only thing though. Now, obviously, at some point in the future, like if you want to, I might make a video on that as well. I might decide to try some of my projects with an online SQL server, and I could go to Azure portal, spin up a SQL server on the cloud, and then try to use that as well. Even then, SQL Management Studio becomes very useful. And also, if you want to practice SQL, like this series, I'm not going to go into SQL queries. I already mentioned in the previous video that I am using EF Core, so I don't have to worry too much, or in fact I don't have to worry at all about how and why SQL works. For example, I'm not using any stored procedures, which is like a very basic thing a lot of C# developers can do, and I don't use it in any of my projects because I completely depend on EF Core for all my work. But you might be interested in exploring SQL a little bit more. I know some people have a penchant, they have a tendency, or sometimes it's a job requirement where you have to go deeper into SQL by learning about queries and store procedures and advanced SQL database management and table design, and all those table design diagrams and all that. I'm not doing any of those things. My main focus is on building projects rather than designing databases. So I'm out of the whole database designing thing. But either way, I mean, I can't completely escape responsibility from database. So I'm going to stick to the basics, GUI based things. So there you go. You can explore databases that you have on your computer. You can do some basic queries. Like, for example, I have a table here, so I want to do something. I can go here, I can find out, okay, what are the roles that are available in this project, what are the users that are available in this project, and stuff like this, and so on and so forth. So for these things and more, you would need your SQL Management Studio. Further, as we build projects, we'll be designing the tables using EF Core. So you may want to, I would insist, once you create, let's say you apply migrations and you update the database when using EF Core, you want to go and check if the database was actually updated. And let's say if you're doing some CRUD testing, you want to make sure that the table was added. If you're doing some editing of a specific row, you want to make sure that the specific row was updated. So you want some visual confirmation that yes, this table was edited. And sometimes you're storing values, you want to go and check. Like, for example, one of the projects, one of the steps where we are logging the tracking, we are tracking the changes by using Azure Service Bus, and I want to make sure that the message was actually received. I want to make sure that the data was actually received and stored from the after receiving the messages from the Azure storage queue. So like this, there are a lot of reasons why you will want to check your database yourself and make sure things are working fine. Things are getting stored, things are getting deleted, things are getting edited, things are getting created. So definitely this is an essential component of our tutorial series. So there you go. Oh, I forgot to delete a slide when I picked this PowerPoint. Sorry. Let's go ahead and resume. So there you go. These are the reasons why you would make sure that you have this software installed on your machine, and that's all there is to it. So I'll see you in the next one.